Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something pretty special, pretty exciting. I'm here in Cupertino, California at the Apple headquarters, Apple Park at the Steve Jobs Theater, which is right behind me here. And this is where they just announced the brand new Apple Watch Series 9 and the Apple Watch Ultra 2. On top of the new Apple Watches, Apple also announced a new iPhone 15 and 15 Pro, which we're not going to talk about in this video, but I may talk about that soon, so stay tuned. So I just left the media room where everyone was able to play with these new devices. I had some hands-on time with these devices. I got to test out some of the new features, and so we're just going to go through all the new stuff in this video, more of a product overview, not a review at all, so stay tuned further down the road when I actually get one in my hands and I can do an in-depth review. That'll be coming in the future, so make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss that. So when it comes to the design of these new Apple Watches, there's really nothing shocking here. They look very much like the old Apple Watches, just like the Apple Watch Ultra 1 and Series 8. Very similar design, not a complete overhaul, nothing like that. Most of the exciting stuff is really under the hood when it comes to these new watches, because they've got a new processor, a new SIP as they call it, called the S9 chip. This new S9 chip is 30% faster, Apple claims, when it comes to the GPU, which should enable like smoother scrolling, apps should load a little bit quicker, everything should feel a little bit snappier, which is kind of interesting because I've never really had an issue with my Apple Watch feeling slow or anything like that. Even though we didn't really need a new chip, it is good to see that they've updated it. It's more efficient, it's quicker, and that should enable more features down the road. Another big update on the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 is going to be when it comes to the brightness of their displays. Now the displays are largely the same size, same resolution, but they've gotten brighter on the Series 9 and Ultra 2. The Apple Watch Series 9 can now get up to 2000 nits of brightness, which is great. That was just as bright as the original Apple Watch Ultra, which means if you're in direct sunlight, you'll be able to see the watch without an issue. And on the Apple Watch Ultra 2, it's even more impressive because it's gotten a big boost up to 3000 nits of brightness, which is the brightest watch on the market, I think. I don't think there's another smartwatch out there that can compete when it comes to that brightness level. Now, I didn't really get to test this out in direct sunlight. I'm hoping I get to soon, but in their little test area, it was really impressive. Very vibrant, very bright, pretty impressive, and it should make things a lot easier to read. When it comes to brightness on these new Apple Watches, there's also another interesting feature when it comes to minimum brightness. They can now drop down to 1 nit of brightness for use when you're sleeping or you're in a movie theater or something like that. You can dim them way down so you can still see information without a big bright thing glowing on your wrist. With that said, now that we've talked about brightness and CPU power, you're probably wondering about battery life. And I was as well. Now there's good news and bad news here. So the claimed battery life of the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and Series 9, it's identical to the Series 8 and original Ultra. So their battery life did not improve at all. With that said, you got to remember we are getting a brighter display and a faster CPU inside. So it's kind of a net equal here. We're not gaining anything, we're not losing anything when it comes to battery life, but we are getting more features. So there's that. Now that new S9 processor does enable another new feature, and that's on-device Siri processing, which is kind of interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to test this out in their little demo area, but the idea here is that on the older Apple Watches, like the Series 8 and Ultra, when you made a Siri request, it would be recorded and sent to the cloud and then sent back to your watch to enable whatever action you were trying to do. Now, all of that processing that would previously happen in the cloud will happen on the device. You'll be able to make those requests with or without a cell phone signal. On the topic of Siri, there's also a couple of new things you can do with Siri, which are kind of interesting. You can actually make requests about your health through Siri. So if you want to know what your sleep was the previous night or what your average heart rate was throughout the day, you can simply ask Siri that. And again, that'll happen on device and let you know right then and there. The new health query function through Siri is not available at the time of launch, but it will be available soon. So stay tuned for that. Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 also have a new wideband chip inside, so they can use Precision Find My. That'll mean you can locate your phone using your watch, and you'll be able to use that Precision Find My feature, which has haptic feedback to let you know when you're getting close. On the Apple Watch Ultra, there's also a new watch face called Modular, which is a pretty cool look, and it does have a ton of information at a single glance, and it is compatible with automatic night mode in watch OS 10. Another new feature with the Apple Watch Series 9 and Ultra 2 is a new double tap function that you can do with your fingers while wearing the watch. And this is probably the most exciting feature of these new watches, and it's pretty interesting. I got to demo this feature firsthand, and it is shocking how responsive it is. Basically, by double tapping your fingers like this, it enables you to use the primary button in whatever app you're in. So if you're in the alarm clock app, you can cancel your alarm. Or if you're in a phone app or in a phone call, you can hang up on the caller that's calling you. If somebody calls you, you can answer the phone by tapping your fingers together, and it's super interesting. Using that double tap functionality, you can also launch the Smart Stack from your home screen and scroll through all of your widgets right there just by tapping your fingers together. And I'm pretty interested to see how useful this is in practical terms when you're actually using the watch. Will you be able to start and stop a run just by tapping your fingers together, where there'll be accidental taps? I'm not really sure. And using the double tap feature on the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is also really interesting because you can do a few additional features. Like, for example, if you're in the Compass app, you'll be able to set a waypoint just by tapping your fingers. During this event, Apple also talked about their environmental impact and what they've been doing to reduce their carbon footprint. And it's pretty impressive that the Apple Watch Series 9 is their first product that is carbon neutral. They are using a whole slew of different materials, from recycled cobalt in the batteries to recycled aluminum in the case and frame, and even recycled band material to make up the bands of the watch. The Apple Watch Series 9 isn't the only carbon neutral product. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 is also carbon neutral if you opt to go with the Alpine band or the Trail band. The other models will not be carbon neutral, but they still are using recycled materials. So when it comes to the Apple Watch lineup at the time of filming this video, it goes something like this. There's still the Apple Watch SE as the entry-level model. Then there's the Apple Watch Series 9 that's going to come in at $399. It's going to start at $399. And then there's the Apple Watch Ultra 2, which is going to come in at $799. So as you can see, the pricing hasn't changed too much as compared to the previous models. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 is still $800 here in the USA. And when it comes to colors and options at the time of launch, I'll throw those up on the screen now for the Apple Watch Series 9. And with that, that is all the new stuff in the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and Apple Watch Series 9. Like I said, I did get some hands-on experience with these new watches, and largely they do feel very similar to the Series 8 and Ultra. But it's good to see a slightly brighter display and a little bit more snappiness with that new chip, along with a couple of extra new features. And like I said before, this is just sort of a first look feature highlight video talking about the new stuff. Stay tuned down the road where I will get one eventually and provide an in-depth review on this channel. To make sure you don't miss that, make sure you go down and hit that thumbs up and subscribe button so you get notified for future videos. And now I want to hear from you. Are you interested in the Series 9 and Ultra 2? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. And with that, I gotta go now. Back to the event to film more watches and phones, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks, bye.